Hi, welcome to the sixth part of the Goods Market Model lecture of the Introduction to Economics course. This lecture series is created for the Middlesex University Northern Cyprus campus. And now, having defined in the previous chapters the consumption and the investment spending, we will start to see the whole model, which is called income expenditure model, kind of looks the relation between these two. And with income, we pretty much also mention we mean GDP. Although we are talking about the kind of when we are talking on the growth chapter, we are talking about the relatively short run GDP here, basically. At least in the remaining part of the course, we will assume that potential GDP is fixed. So you can have overutilization of the resources in the economic system or underutilization of it. We will see in coming chapters also potential overutilization, although in this chapter we start with underutilization assumption. However, we will never see the potential possibility of increasing the potential resources. And basically, well, before I move on, I would want to mention you something. In this chapter, we will see an equilibrium, just like we have seen different equilibriums in the previous parts of the course, especially macroeconomics, but also in the maybe Phillips curve, you see potential point which can be thought as equilibrium. But here we will see a equilibrium we will name much more strongly as an equilibrium. That equilibrium I will call short-run equilibrium. This is called equilibrium in your book chapter 24. Don't be confused about different terminology. I mean, the terminology is different. In chapter 26, the book has another definition which is called short-term equilibrium, which I will call medium-term equilibrium, basically. Just note about this, and I have a long-term equilibrium, and this short, long, and medium-term equilibrium is defined for the last three chapters of the book. So basically, in the growth chapter, we could be taught about a very long-run process, basically long-run growth, when we are talking about long-run growth. But since there we haven't met with basically complex models, I prefer to define my short, medium, and long run according to the rest of the macroeconomics chapters. So just note that long run might be different in growth chapter and here, and I will mention it again to make you understand. And in this part of the in this lecture, basically we don't also go to the long run. We have short run equilibrium, and that's our end horizon. What happens before the short run equilibrium, since the equilibrium itself is happening in the short run, before short run equilibrium, we have in the state of this equilibrium will be called as very short run. And it is okay if you whatever terminology you use in your assignments or in your exams. But note, just make sure that your terminology is consistent. Don't mix them. Either use my terminology or the book's terminology. And be careful, I mean, when you read the book and when you read me, the terminology is different. Although what we tell is same, besides the terminology. And as I said, there is no unique definition of short run. Short run is according to what you define as short run. So how long is short run is usually, I mean, if you tell it before make a proper definition, it doesn't have any meaning, basically. So we can start with the income expenditure model. Basically, we have in the basic models we have no government, no tax, no international trade, planned investment level, and autonomous spending, and MPC is fixed. So having said all of these conditions, basically we have our GDP level. GDP level is equal to Y. It's actually YD. It's also equal to YD. Usually, GDP level should be equal to tax plus YD and C plus I plus government spending basically on this side. So these are the all types of spending, and basically the income is equal to disposable income plus YD. But we don't have tax and we don't have government spending, so both YD and G will disappear. Now we need to find aggregate spending, AE. To find that, and for that I need to actually I'm sorry. I actually decided to do it this way. Is equal to C plus I. Well, this is C. Well, moment. Let me also do some trick. I try to do it fast. That's why I'm actually kind of confused. I'm sorry. Well, for a while I have lost control of the recording mechanism. That's actually the reason of the break. I'm sorry for this. Anyway, well, this is equal to y anyway, so let's start from there. Plus investment level, basically. If we are talking about the planned investment level, in that case we can easily do it also like this. And now actually I need to make it a little bit shorter. At least let me make this a little bit. So this is basically AE planned. So AE planned is equal to C plus I is equal to A time plus MPC times Y plus I planned. This is the planned aggregate expenditure. The actual aggregate expenditure will be basically like this, without the planned part. So the aggregate expenditure will always equal to GDP, because in the end, the companies produce, but part of the products they cannot sell, they put it to the inventories, and that inventories is added to the investment. So you will see it there. So basically, you always have AE equal to Y in this case. But the planned investment and Y doesn't always need to be equal to each other, because sometimes the spending in the economy is more or less, the planned spending, the amount that people want to spend might be more or less the GDP level. What happens if it is more? What happens if it is less? We will see that now. So what happens if AE planned is more than GDP? So in this case, basically, people want to spend more money than the GDP. So what will producers do in that case? Producers will basically, let's do that. Oh, I'm sorry. People will spend more money. Want to spend more money. The companies did not have produce as much as they wanted to produce. Basically, they needed to sell all, meet all the demand. In that case, what the companies will basically do is they will use their inventories. They will use their inventories to meet the demand. They might actually decrease their planned inventory spending if they already produce an excess amount to put to their inventories, basically they will decrease the amount they put to the inventories and meet the demand with part of it. If they did not were not planning to put anything to the inventories, or even if the demand is even higher than the amount they were planning to put to their inventories, they will basically sell everything they were planning to put to inventories. Plus, they might even get some additional amount from the inventories. In that case, inventory spending might be negative. So what will happen in this is a very short run. I mean, we haven't met the equilibrium yet. We have an inequilibrium. AE plan and Y are not equal to each other. How will we get to the equilibrium? Basically, when the companies are meeting with excess demand, and note that they have the excess capacity also, they will increase their production level. They will increase the production level as long as AE is greater than Y, and they will basically stop increasing their production level at the point when AE is equal to Y, basically. So this is the case when we have the when we have AE greater than Y. What will happen in the reverse case? In the reverse case, we have AE less than Y. I'm sorry for that moment. Let's do like this. In that case, well, the plant spending is less than GDP. That includes also investment and inventory investment. So companies end up some outputs that with some outputs they are not able to sell. What do they do with these outputs? They put these outputs to the inventories. So the inventory investment level increases, and unplanned investment level will become, in that case, positive. In the other case, it was negative, basically. Because they make some disinvestments, or they reduce the investment level, inventory investment level, in an unplanned manner. Basically, they wanted to make investment, but they make disinvestment, or even a disinvestment in the inventories. But now they make investment which they did not wanted to do by putting the unsold outputs to the inventories. So what will they do in this case? In the short run, this is the very short run, note that. In the short run, they will basically stop producing as much. So they will decrease the production level. As a result, basically, again, AE plant will be equal to Y, basically, or the GDP level. So again, note that when AE is greater than Y, GDP, the plant AE is greater than GDP. In that case, I plant need to be greater than, less than 0. Why? Because in the end, this difference is met with, well, even in the short run, we have even in the very short run, this is short run, even in the very short run, we have AE plant plus I unplant is equal to GDP level. And let me make this smaller. This basically means that if this is less than Y, in that case, this needs to be positive, so that the summation will become equal to Y. If, on the other hand, AE is larger than 1, now this I plant should be negative, so that the summation will be equal to Y, since this is greater than this, basically. So we have seen the basics of the model. Now we will see a little bit math of the model, and we will also actually bring back the multiplier into the model in this part. So see you in the next parts.